More than a decade before cancel culture took hold, one actor was
I humbly ask that you join me, unless you are completely without sin, in which case you picked the wrong industry, in forgiving my friend his trespasses, offering him the same clean slate you have me, and allowing him to continue his great and ongoing contribution to our collective art without shame. He's hugged the cactus long enough.
already practicing forgiveness and resilience, none other than Iron Man himself, Robert Downey Jr. In an industry shaped by shifting standards, Downey has defied woke.
Obviously, you're doing a promotional round of interviews, and that's why we're talking about the movie, but we also would like to talk a little bit about you, and I don't know how comfortable you are, you know, talking about yourself at the moment.
You have as much time as anyone else will.
Yeah, well, okay, well then let me just ask you a few more questions, and you can answer them if you want to and not if you don't want to. I mean,
Hollywood, by not only weathering intense controversies, but emerging stronger and more celebrated. His path through this cultural landscape and his daring choices have redefined Hollywood's stardom. Now, he's teaming up with another defiant figure, Mel Gibson, to produce content outside the control of mainstream Hollywood. Downey's knack for taking risks was evident in one of his most...
Yeah, exactly. You know, there were times when I was doing Jack that I actually felt retarded, like really retarded. Oh, yeah. I mean, I brushed my teeth retarded, I rode bus retarded.
Dang. Controversial roles, the 2008 comedy Tropic Thunder. In the film, he played Kirk Lazarus, a dedicated white method actor who undergoes a radical transformation to portray a black character in a fictional film. Yes, Downey wore blackface, a move that would seem like career suicide in today's sensitive climate. However, the film, directed by Ben Stiller, was more than just comedy. It was a sharp satire on Hollywood's extremes, especially the obsession with method acting and exaggerated portrayals.
Do you think that you could do Tropic Thunder today? Would that be possible?
Oh, you could do it. And again, like Eddie, you know, I look back to me, that movie to me was a circle back to my dad's movie called Putney Swope, which I highly recommend anyone who hasn't seen to see, about a black guy who takes over an ad agency in the 60s because everyone votes for him.
Through the character of Lazarus, Tropic Thunder parodied the ridiculous lengths actors go to for authenticity, holding a mirror to Hollywood's own absurdities. Downey's performance managed to avoid the backlash because it critiqued rather than endorsed such portrayals. Instead of burying him, the role showcased Downey's ability.
The insane, self-involved hypocrisy of artists and what they think they're allowed to do on occasion. Just my opinion. And also Ben, who is a masterful artist and director, probably the closest thing to a Charlie Chaplin that I've experienced in my lifetime. He writes, he directs, he acts. If you had seen him when he was directing this movie, you would have been like, I'm watching David Lean, I'm watching Chaplin, I'm watching...
...ability to take complex, bold risks that force audiences to think while they laugh, a skill that has kept him at the top of Hollywood's ever-evolving landscape. Ben Stiller, aware of the potential backlash for Tropic Thunder, took steps to ensure the film's satirical intent was understood. He consulted groups like the NAACP and prominent black journalists before production, clarifying that the film aimed to critique, not promote, blackface. Context was everything. Robert Downey Jr.'s character...
You could do blackface anymore. I mean, we almost lost the Prime Minister of Canada because he did brownface. He pretended to be Saudi Arabian, right?
Yeah.
He did Arabian Nights in high school or something like that.
It's an interesting and necessary meditation on where is the pendulum, why is the pendulum right?
Didn't endorse blackface, but rather highlighted its absurdity. Even Downey himself had initial doubts, wondering if the role was a terrible idea. However, as he explained on the Joe Rogan Experience, he ultimately saw it as a unique artistic challenge. He described it as high science and art form, noting that 90% of his black friends appreciated the satire, a sign that audiences who understood the intent saw the bigger picture. But Tropic Thunder was not Downey's only run-in with Hollywood's shifting culture. As cancel culture grew, Downey pushed back against the trend, speaking out against...
Gun is not loaded.
Richie! Richie!
stifling creativity for the sake of strict political correctness. He compared Tropic Thunder to the iconic sitcom All in the Family, viewing both as social mirrors that reveal the absurdities of prejudice and Hollywood's extreme lengths to avoid offense. For Downey, art should challenge, not coddle, its audience. He's a strong advocate for satire as a tool to tackle sensitive topics, arguing that if society loses its ability to laugh at itself, it risks losing
feedback in a very forgiving industry. It's pendulemic. I was really fortunate in that I was pre-internet with much of my misbehavior.
A vital sense of perspective and self-awareness. For Robert Downey Jr., challenging controversy isn't just a role, it's a personal philosophy. In a Hollywood where many tread carefully, Downey stands out for defending himself and others. When his friend Chris Pratt
struggle that has consumed the last 8 years that you obviously, as I said, have gotten control of now. Nice
Thank
going.
You. Appreciate that.
Yeah, sure.
Now, does that mean that the jokes and the monologue are over for now?
Well, we'll see how you behave.
Oh, we're just checking. Okay.
Faced accusations of being a white supremacist due to his conservative views and Christian beliefs, Downey publicly defended him. He described Pratt as a man of integrity and condemned the mob mentality eager to tear people down over differing beliefs. Downey's message to
Couldn't get sober. He told me not to give up hope, and he urged me to find my faith. Didn't have to be his or anyone else's as long as it was rooted in forgiveness. And I couldn't get hired, so he cast me in the lead of a movie that was actually developed for him.
Critics was clear. Take a good hard look at yourself before pointing fingers. What truly sets Downey apart in Hollywood is his belief in redemption and forgiveness. Having faced his own struggles with addiction and legal issues before rising to fame as Iron Man, he knows firsthand the road to recovery and reinvention. In 2011, at the American Cinema Awards, Downey publicly defended Mel Gibson, who, like him, had faced severe backlash. Downey urged the audience to consider forgiveness, reminding Hollywood that people can change and that redemption is possible even in the face of intense criticism. Robert Downey Jr. urged Hollywood to extend the same second chance to Mel Gibson that it had once given him, calling for empathy and understanding over judgment. Unless you are completely without sin, you picked the wrong thinking industry, Downey famously said. This wasn't merely a gesture of friendship. It was a bold expression of his...
As we keep talking. Are you ready for this? Okay, here we go. You're getting into character as you. Okay, all right, here we go. When did you know that you wanted to be an actor?
Well, knowing is something that's very particular to the soul.
His belief in allowing people to learn from their mistakes. Downey has since shared that Gibson has been there for him during his darkest days, even producing The Singing Detective when no one else would hire him. Gibson's support was so unwavering that he covered Downey's insurance bond for the film, a risk no one else would take. Their bond goes beyond friendship. It's a mutual commitment to lift each other up when the world tries to bring them down. Now, that partnership has led to a
destroyed, but you're also seeing lives that have been deeply troubled for years, and it's
kind of a tragic healing process.
It's a big upheaval. I mean, I've never seen Hollywood quite so shaken by anything.
It's a little late.
So we'll see how it all shakes down. Hopefully it clears the air a little bit.
A new chapter. Downey and Gibson recently announced the launch of their own production company aiming to create films outside the constraints of Hollywood's woke agenda. At the press conference, Downey, wearing a Make Movies Fun Again cap, expressed their mission simply: Hollywood has lost its way, and they're setting out to restore it. Hollywood, once a beacon of creativity, has become stifled by political correctness, according to Robert Downey Jr. and Mel Gibson. For them, their new studio is more than a business venture. It's a rebellion. They want to bring back raw, unfiltered storytelling that challenges audiences without fear of stepping on toes. Gibson, a figure familiar with controversy, we've been sidelined by the woke agenda for too long. Their studio, they assert, will be a sanctuary for artists willing to take risks and speak their minds. Predictably, critics were quick to label the move a desperate bid for attention, but Downey and Gibson are unfazed, convinced that genuine creativity has taken a back seat in today's Hollywood climate. They believe there's a sizable audience craving something real, unfiltered, and unapologetic. Going against the grain isn't easy in Hollywood, and both actors have faced backlash. Some see their endeavor as an attack on inclusivity, while others argue it shows they're out of touch. Yet Downey stands firm, driven by his experiences and belief in second chances. His own story of personal redemption is deeply tied to his stance on cancel culture. Having endured judgment and shame that nearly ended his career, he's committed to creating a space where others can avoid a similar fate and have the freedom to tell authentic, bold stories. As Hollywood wrestles with what's deemed acceptable, Robert Downey Jr.'s stance is unwavering. Forgiveness, empathy, and growth should never be sacrificed for fleeting outrage. Now, as he enters a new, unpredictable chapter alongside Mel Gibson, their partnership could reshape the Hollywood landscape, at least for those bold enough to embrace their vision. With this new studio, Downey is doubling down on his belief that art should be fearless, provocative, and willing to address society's most controversial issues. While some predict failure, one thing is certain: Downey isn't backing down. He's challenging Hollywood's status quo, asking uncomfortable questions and standing firm on his principles, a rare stance in today's industry. It's precisely this resilience that has made him not only a star, but also a symbol of resistance against the woke pressures gripping Hollywood. Downey has skillfully balanced mainstream success with fearless artistic expression, having faced down cancel culture, championed redemption, and now set his sights on Hollywood itself. So is Downey's defiance against Hollywood's woke agenda exactly what the industry needs, or is he just stirring the pot? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood's most controversial figures.